Alright everyone, it's time for the midterms in focus, of course. Over the next few days, I'll be covering a lot more about polling, my predictions, etc. I'll give my final predictions the day before the midterm election, probably, although you will, because then that day, because it's a Monday, you'll get the final polling slew. You're going to get some shit on election day itself, and of course exit polling will be made available, but the last good round of pre-election polls will be then. So Monday will be my big expectations. By the way, this week I really am going to conk out and try to get some rest, because Tuesday, of course, I'm going to do the election, the midterm live stream with Sleazy P. Martini. I'll be contacting our prospective guests later on today. My hope is to have 4, maybe 5 people aboard for short slots, and it's going to be a doozy. I'm going to be holed up in a hotel room to do it as well, because I don't want anything going wrong. I can't have any background noise, so I need nice thick walls and to be the only person there. So I'm going to get a really good shower, you know, a really good nap. Hopefully, I am an insomniac, so I'll be bringing some chamomile with me, of course. That extra strength shit from Sleepy Time with the valerian in it too. Knock myself out for 5 or so hours, and then hopefully I'll be good to go. I've got some polls here though. You can follow along, link in the description. I will also do a poll update later during the live stream that I'm hoping to have this afternoon. And keep in mind, no live... I probably will not live stream on Monday either, to be clear. I might do a preamble sort of live stream just with those final thoughts. I haven't decided yet. I have to maintain my health, my mental health, in regards to a 4 to 5 hour long live stream followed by a post show where we're probably clanking on Cenk Uyghur's place. Anyway, I'm going to take you through a few interesting polls. We have new numbers out as of yesterday and the day before. Firstly, Kari Lake, I do believe that she will win the gubernatorial slot in Arizona. You have 5 recent polls. In 4, Lake is ahead. It's not by a huge margin. My thought is that looking at the preliminary data out of several states with regards to early voting registry totals, with the Democrats coming in well behind where they want to be, not even a double-digit range of lead in mail-in voting. If that carries over to other states, I expect a 2 to 3 point outperformance by most GOP candidates. It won't be universal. We have to guess where they will outperform. It might be by a little more. It might be by a little less. Maybe they underperform in a few states. I have the sense, based on Kari Lake's particular persona and the last-minute growing of a gap between her and Katie Hobbs, she will prevail. She's up by 1.8 in the aggregate. You'll remember there was a time when Katie Hobbs was in the lead. It's been a while. So that's number 1. Number 2, we have several new polls out of Pennsylvania, and the 3 most recent all show Oz with a slight lead. This is, of all of the races, the most likely to be fortified, though. I don't know. Depending on the final number, I may not even be able to give a solid prediction. I may literally just flip a coin for the Pennsylvania Senate race. I think you've got a better shot with Walker in Georgia. I think you've got a better shot with in Nevada with Lex Alt. Arguably, you have a better shot in fucking Washington State, simply because of the fortification issue here. Fetterman is part of the Obama-adjacent machine politic that tends to reign in that part of the country. Illinois, Pennsylvania, to an extent even places like Ohio, certainly Wisconsin. That's another big one to watch. We need new polling numbers there too. I suspect we'll have some today. I would suspect Fetterman, even going in with a point or 2 disadvantage, still could pull it off because of the fortification issue. Just to be clear, if you're going to be blackpilled about literally any race going on right now, it should be Pennsylvania, Oz v. Fetterman. Next, we've got Georgia Senate, Walker versus Warnock. Walker is ahead in the most recent poll. It's hit or miss, though. While he's ahead by a half a point, which, you know, considering he's supposedly the most stupid candidate, the worst Republican yet, terrible, worse than Trump, he's slightly ahead of his opponent. What does that say about Raphael Warnock? Likely pickup for the GOP. Again, if you look at the preliminary results, you're seeing an outperformance by the GOP, and it'll be bigger on polling day itself. If that holds, therefore, Walker will knock Warnock out of the Senate and become a senator, which will be very funny, and it'll cause heads to roll. I mean, just imagine the pink-haired freak reaction to Herschel Walker being in the Senate, especially after being cast off as, well, he's just a sports star that wants to be in politics. Well, if he wins, then he'll actually have been in politics. You're not going to be able to use that line the next time around now, are you? The problem is that every poll here pretty much looks like an outlier. You've got one with Warnock +6, and then you've got another with Walker +5 in the same rolling average over the course of only 2 weeks. The scattering of these polls is much higher than most. It's much higher than Pennsylvania. It's much higher than Arizona. It's much higher than Nevada. Hell, it's higher than New Hampshire at this point. You've got a huge spread. It's not something that you have in the gubernatorial race. I'm wondering why it's so scattered, and to me that points to shenanigans, missampling within polling. But I don't know which direction those missamplings are prospectively going. I've got much less of a variance in polling, with literally every poll showing him ahead, for Kemp v. Stacey Abrams in the same goddamn state. I don't know what gives with the data here. There's an 11-point gap between these two polls in a 1-week period of time. So it's sketchy. It's a little bit off. New Hampshire, we have 3 recent polls. Hassan's ahead by a point in one, Bolduc's ahead by a point in the other 2. Take your pick. This is now a 50-50 race. I still think I favor Maggie Hassan to hold on to the seat, despite New Hampshire not having fortification problems. Simply because in this race, with the rise of her opponent being a 50-50 sum game, with only a few days left till the election, some people already having voted, of course, I don't know that it makes up the difference. If you have that lead that she did have by a number of points in the early voting period, can it be surmounted on the actual midterm day itself? I don't know. I think it's close to a 50-50 game, and he is now slightly ahead of her in the aggregate. We'll see if that holds going into the election. Again, I want more numbers there, but I also need more numbers. We don't have them yet for Alaska. Murkowski-Shabaka, Palin versus Peltola. I don't have any numbers to go on there, which is regrettable because that's a big one. We won't get to that on the live stream because I'll be going to bed around the time the very first exit polls are released. That's past the West Coast time-wise. We won't be able to look at, for example, Oregon gubernatorial, Washington state senate. Probably won't get solid numbers even from like Nevada. The furthest that I'll be going is probably the central zone. So as far as the Missouri River, basically, I'll have results for you. Going to be a fun night. I can't wait for it. So yeah, the Republicans are pulling away in a number of races. And in a number of races where they were heavily at a disadvantage, they've now narrowed it to 50-50. Fetterman had all but caused Oz to be written off until the debate performance, for example. Lake had been running slightly behind her opponent until more recently. New Hampshire never looked like it was even potentially competitive. The Democrats are now pulling out of... By the way, they're fleeing right now from Ohio and from Florida and from Texas, gubernatorial race. They've abandoned half of their positions. Has the GOP abandoned literally anything other than Mastriano and stupidly the Blake Masters case? No. 2 versus several dozen major races that the Democrats have absolutely abandoned. They have withdrawn everything from Florida at this point. They are completely routed there. They're completely routed in a number of other states. They're very, very nervous right now. So what they're trying to do is stem the hemorrhage. They're trying to withdraw all support into a handful of areas like Pennsylvania where they think they can still eke it out. What happens if they end up stopping defense in New Hampshire? They say, oh, well, shit, Hassan's going to lose her seat. We better double down in Pennsylvania or we're definitely losing the Senate. We won't even have a chance. The GOP, in my current estimate, would gain about 45 to 50 House seats. So I'm upping that expectation again. I hold the 2 or 3 Senate seats because I suspect Pennsylvania will be fortified, and I have really wonky numbers in Georgia. I expect them to probably pick up Nevada. They might pick up New Hampshire at this point. They got a chance in several other states. I think that they can nail 53 quite easily. Gubernatorial, it's looking like a 4-seat pickup. This is a red wave. To be clear, it's moving against the Democrats still. With a few days to go, if you get another half a point or a point tacked on to some of these candidates, it shifts the entire political landscape. I'm very much looking forward to that night. Maybe not the sleeplessness part of it, but, there's always caffeine, my old friend. That's about all. Peace out.